Welcome to Cooking with Chef Tuan, and today we are going to be making some delicious steamed bao buns. Now, as usual, all the ingredients will be listed in the description box down below. All right, now for our bao recipe, we're gonna go ahead and start with some yeast, sugar, and warm water. Now, you want your water to be in between 100 and 110 degrees. Now, all you gotta do is just give this a quick stir to make sure everything is mixed together, and just give it a few minutes for your yeast to bloom. So the flour that I'm using today is just regular all-purpose flour. Now, if you used bleached flour, your baos will come out extremely white in color. Combine all your ingredients in a food processor. Now, if you don't have one, you can always use a stand mixer, or you can mix this by hand. Now, it's a good thing to stop the food processor after a few seconds to scrape down the sides to make sure all the ingredients are incorporated. Now I'm gonna go and straight blitz this until the dough comes together. And how do you know that it's all comes together? It starts to move in one big ball just like this, and that's when you know your dough is ready. Now this bao dough, for as many times that I've made it, is pretty much spot on perfect right now. You don't need any extra flour or any oil for it to not stick to anything. Now this dough is kind of stiff and it's kind of hard, so we're only kneading it for a few seconds just to make it into a nice round ball. Don't worry about getting it nice and smooth. When we let this rest for about 2 hours, the dough will relax and it will become pretty smooth. Now, while our bao dough is resting, we're gonna go ahead and work on our filling, which we have here: ground pork, some garlic, shallots, some scallions, salt and pepper. Now, even with all those aromats, I want to pack as much flavor and umami into this mix as we possibly can. So with that, we're going to start with some fish sauce. And then to follow up, we're going to add some regular sodium soy sauce. And then for another umami bomb, oyster sauce. And then just a little bit of granulated sugar. We're going to add a little bit of cornstarch and our chicken stock. You can use water if you want, but you know, we're gonna go for maximum flavor. So let's go ahead and use some chicken stock. And as you can see, this mix is really absorbing all the chicken stock. So what the cornstarch that we added is going to do is, when we cook this, the pork is going to leach out a lot of liquid along with that chicken stock that we added. And what the cornstarch is going to do is it's going to make a thick gravy for us, and it's gonna stay inside the bun. And yes, you did see me add a splash of sesame oil to the filling mix. Now I'm gonna add some fresh quail eggs to this bao mix. So to cook the quail eggs, I put it in a pot of warm water, brought it up to a boil, and once the quail eggs hit a boil, turn off the heat and put a lid on there for about 3 minutes. Then after that, take them out and shock them in ice water. Then all you have to do is just give them a nice little roll and peel them all. And just be careful when you're peeling these quail eggs. They are very delicate. And now that our dough's been resting for about 2 hours, I'm gonna give it a nice poke. If the dough doesn't spring back, that means it's proofed perfectly. All there is to do now is just to shape it and then roll it out into a rope. As you can see, it's about 1 inch thick rope. So this is gonna give us about 12 baos. All you gotta do is just eyeball these and cut them as evenly as you can. If you want to weigh them out, you can, but I don't think it's necessary. And once you're done, you put them all inside. As you can see, we're not adding any flour or any oil to this dough. Okay, now we're on to shaping the baos. Now, all you have to do is just flatten them out with your hand. And as you can see with my rolling pin, I'm just rolling the edges. I want to leave that middle part a little bit more fluffy, because that's where our filling is gonna sit on top. And we want a thicker part of the dough so that way it doesn't sog through the bottom. Now that is a little trick that not very many people tell you. Now this next step is a little difficult to explain, so you're just gonna have to pay really close attention to what I'm doing. As you can see in my right hand, I'm using my thumb as a backstop while I'm taking the dough with my left hand and I'm making like a zigzag accordion style crimping. So I'm just folding it and crimping it, folding it and crimping it till you get about 10 pleats. And as you can see, there's this hole right here. I'm gonna stick my finger in there and twist it and try to meet it with all the other pleats. And then what I'm doing right now is I'm just taking my thumbs and forefinger and just pinching the doughs together to make it all nice and even. So this is going to form what they call like a fish's mouth. So as you can see, it looks like a little fish's mouth. You want the edge perimeter to be even thickness, so that's why I'm pinching it pretty hard. All right, we're gonna do one more. All right, so flatten out your dough as best as you can to a nice circular pattern. And again, just roll the edges. You want to leave the middle thick because like I said before, that's where the filling is going to sit on top. And when we cook this, that's where all the juices are going to come, and you don't want to sog out the bottom. All right, so as you can see again, my right hand, my thumb is a backstop, and I'm just crimping as I'm going along. Now, if you're left-handed, I don't know how to explain it to you except go the opposite way, but that's as best as I can do. I've never tried this left-handed before. And as you can see, I took that hole and I just kind of twisted the whole thing to meet with the other pleats. And here, as you can see, I'm pinching it to create a nice even layer of dough on the top. It's a little tricky at first, but to the best of your ability, just go ahead and finish the rest of them. And when you're done, you want to place them on parchment paper. And then once that's done, leave them aside. Now, I'm going to be using my bamboo steamer and a wok. Now, if you don't have a wok, you can also use any kind of pan as long as the water doesn't touch the bottom of the buns. So at the bottom of my wok, I do have hot water, which I'm going to use to proof these buns for 30 minutes before we turn on the heat and steam them for 20 minutes. Now, once they're done heating for 20 minutes, do not open the lid for at least 3 minutes and let them rest. And once they're fully rested, this is what you end up with. Beautiful, light and fluffy bao buns filled with a succulent pork filling, and some do have a nice, creamy, fully cooked quail egg inside. Now, the sauce that you see that's accompanied with these bao buns is a very simple Chinese sauce. It's black vinegar, soy sauce, ginger, and a little bit of chili oil. I will link that recipe down below. Now, let's tear one of these bao buns open and check these bad boys out. Look at how nice and fluffy they are. Look at this pork patty, so nice and juicy. The bottom has not sogged through, and you can see how soft and airy the bun is. You know, in my whole entire life, I don't think I've ever met a single person that doesn't like a nice steamed fluffy bao bun. The bun itself is nice and soft with a little hint of sweetness to it. Now let's go ahead and try this filling, which is full of flavor, full of the nice rich fattiness from the pork, the umami from the fish sauce, the soy sauce, the oyster sauce. This is just loaded with flavor. Now on top of that, we have this sauce with the soy sauce, the vinegar, and the chili oil. Puts it right over the top. Guys, thank you so much for stopping by. If you like the content, please hit the like button. Stay safe out there, and as always, peace.